Howdy everybody, and welcome back to our Legacy of the Wizard aRPG tutorial. So last time I mentioned real quick that at the very end that the game felt really slow, and I figured out why that is. And of course I immediately realized as soon as I finished the video exactly what it was. Just because OBS, the software I'm using to record this, when I'm recording it just cuts the rate of everything in half. So anyways, that's just making it feel a bit slower than it actually is. Anyway, so today we are going to be working on our next state. Well, theoretically our next state would be the ladder, but we can't really use the ladder until we have a jump state. So we're going to go with the jump state next. So let's get cracking. Object player. Let's go into our move event and go over to our states portion here. And let's add in the jumping state. Now, these states are in a specific order, so make sure you put the jump state before the shoot state, because we want to be able to go into our jump state before we go into our shoot state. Because we can shoot while we are jumping, so we want to be able to have the jumping sprite while we're shooting while jumping, because the sprite should be shooting while it should be the jumping sprite while shooting while jumping. And you can see why the logic on all this stuff starts getting kind of convoluted at that point. So jump underscore input underscore and on underscore ground. I just make sure I got this in here. So if we come back to our begin step, there's a little bit of code here I'm going to put in to help with the jumping. So first off, we need to remove our Y fraction when we have landed on the ground, because we don't want any Y fraction being added to our next jump when we are already on the ground. So that wouldn't be good. And another thing we should do is add in this little bit of code here for checking if we landed on the last frame, but not if we're riding a monster. So we need to do a ground check to make sure that we are on the ground. Ground check is, again, tilemap underscore get a pixel, basically checking at the bottom of our bounding box +1 if that'll be ground. If it is, then return true. And so just all that. There we go. So that checks to make sure that we have landed on the ground and sets our on ground variable to true if we are. So let's come back here. And I think that's good for the begin step. So let's go back over here. First thing first, y underscore speed underscore is plus equal jump underscore speed underscore. So as you remember, jumping is a negative event. You have to go up, which is losing y value. So that's why over here in the create event, we set our jump speed as a negative value, -6.0. And that will cause us to start taking off. I'm going to do audio underscore play underscore sound underscore jump 1 false. On underscore ground underscore is equal to false because we have just jumped. State underscore is equal to player underscore states dot jump. Image underscore index is equal to 0, and event underscore user state underscore exit. So now we need to add in our state code, and we had 0 as our move, 1 as our shoot, 2 is our ladder, so we're going over to 3, which is our jump state. And again, we're going to be copying and pasting a lot of code. So copy paste in our collision code. There's no difference here. It's all the same as normal. And copy paste in our animation code from the shoot state. And last but not least, the all-important state swapping code, which is the most complicated part of all of this. So let me take a look at here. Okay, this will be good. First state that we want to be able to move back into is our move state. So if we have returned to on ground, then state underscore is equal to player state dot move, and let's go and execute move state code. Great. Secondly, our shoot state, which is our other state that we have available. And it is a lot like our shoot state swap in the move state, except slightly different. So don't need that there. Let's go input. For some reason, when I was making the code in the first place, I forgot I had a shoot underscore input variable that I could use instead of having to call up the input object every single time. Object stats.magic, etc. All these things are the same. And we create our shot, give it a speed, give it a direction, give it a sound, and remove some magic from it. And pound and region. There we go. Let's see. If we come back into our move state here, we had that shoot state, yeah. In the shoot state here, we actually swapped into the shoot state. But in this case, we're in the jump state, and we don't want to change our sprite, so we stay in the jump state. Let's see. Also, in the shoot state, we want to be able to move into the jump state. So as you can see here, the more states you have, the more complex your code gets, because you have to add in the ability to swap into whatever state you want to be able to swap into from any other state. So that's kind of why you want to limit, to some extent, how many states you can actually change into from any one state. Otherwise, you start getting these massively complex state AIs to figure out what in the world you're supposed to be doing at any given moment. Let's see here, over in the shoot state. This would go just after this. So there we go. Again, it's basically the exact same thing as in the move state. If we jumped and we're on the ground, then play jump sound, moves into the jump state, etc., etc. If not on ground, this will be used in a little bit. Play state underscore is equal to play state such jump. Oh, if I've fallen off a ledge. Yeah, this will be useful, I guess. So we should also add that into our move state as well. So if we have fallen off a cliff, so if we walk over a ledge, we'll detect that we're no longer on the ground. So we'll need to move into the jump state as well. So image underscore index equals 0, and state user. Come back to the move state. Add that into there as well. And region. Looks like I didn't have that in there. Pound region. Pound end region. Right. Pound region. Pound end region. Oh. Pound in region. Oh, that'd be because I didn't put pound region jump state. There we go. This allows me to just sort of shrink away all this code if I don't need it, so makes it a little bit easier to work with. See, nice and tidily packed away. But we're going to need it all out anyways, because we're going to have to add in more code as we figure out what in the world we want to have as our states. So let's test this out to make sure it's actually working. It probably won't. Yep, that's what. Oh, see, I completely forgot about the sprites. So, come over here, back to our create state. We need to create our sprite table for jumping. Jump, right, up, left, walk up, jump right. So, just about the same as the other ones, pretty much. So there we go. Character now jumps. Let's see. We cast magic and jump at the same time. We go into the jump state sprite. And we'll start talking about ladders next, I believe, since we now have the code to be able to show you how it works. See, I can walk on the ladder because it has a platform sprite, but I haven't actually added in the code for walking up and down ladders yet. So, we'll come to that in a little bit. Alright, thank you everybody for watching, and good luck with your coding. Just remember, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you very much. Bye.